So someone already can feel the impact of eclipses that are going on. Those especially who are sensitive, maybe some pressures can happen, relationship can be spoiled, maybe someone can even lose enthusiasm for the spiritual practice. Um, but the one who stands on the spiritual path and firm, don't be worried, that will pass. The main thing for us is not to self-identify ourselves with this body. So this marathon, it's like harding when we are trying to strengthen our faith, and then material energy will not have that great impact. It's actually gonna become the time for good spiritual transformation. For example, if someone arrives to Himalayas mountains, he will understand that this is a very special place. Maybe we can have just one time in a lifetime to come to Himalayas. So the mentality of simple people would be to make photos with the different lands with beauty, like to have a motive of exploitation of this beauty. There is that category of people. We are not trying to judge now whether it's good or bad. It's just we are we're just observing and saying that there is such a tendency. But then there are people who are coming to Himalayas and they wonder, wow, this is great here. This, what can I do here for my spiritual life? Because the atmosphere there is great and auspicious. And in this case, the person will not waste his time for the touristic activities. He understands that Himalayas are designed for the spiritual activities, and it's a place where we could make good austerities, uh, because the austerity can give us the power to to resist to this pressure of the material energy of illusion. So if we make these austerities, we have less time for the silly things. So nowadays, these days we will have this marathon, and this is an opportunity to realize that it could be used for the good. So we are reading spiritual scripts, and our format right now, it's a interactive session. We are sharing our realizations here. It's a space where you could ask questions. And like that, we will be involved in this service to the Lord, because everything that is around Him is perceived as a devotional service to Him. So, it starts with a question, our session. Irina is writing. Krishna is in the heart of every living entity, and Paramatma in the body. Should we meditate on Paramatma as the representative of Krishna? Yes, if your level suggests that, on the level of faith, yes, you can think of Paramatma as being a representative of Krishna. It's his localized aspect, to be precise. It's the position of Paramatma. It is Krishna and not Krishna at the same time. Once you are more established in the spiritual life and you receive also the instructions of a spiritual master, and he will elevate you to the spiritual platform, and at a certain moment you will feel that in your heart there is Krishna himself and not just Paramatma. But you know, this is a long way, so we have to go there gradually. The difference is that for Paramatma, there is not such a big difference what you are doing, because Paramatma will give you the results of your activities. It's not very interested. But when Krishna is start being in our heart, he starts to sometimes he doesn't allow you to have any good fruits. You are waiting, but he doesn't allow, because he knows that if he now gives you some good results, you can forget about him. Sometimes he can also he doesn't give you the bad fruits as well of your previous acts, because they also can deviate you from the path. So Krishna is Suhridam. Suhridam means our the most close heart friend. It's not just observer, like in a cold, non-interested way. He's Suhridam, the best friend. And this friendship, it's not that easy to obtain. You have to make certain spiritual endeavor. Now we're reading Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna will speak to Arjuna. He will tell him, trust me, surrender to me. I will protect you from the results of all your sinful activities. Okay. Thank you very much, Irina. Yelena is writing. What? Please, could you help me to understand what are we meaning when we say three worlds? Well, three worlds means higher, middle, and lower. We are situated in the middle. In the lower world, there is a hellish way of life. There is a lot of suffering. You know that there is a lower world. Even itself is divided into three levels. There is higher, lower world, middle lower world, and lower world. And so the most lowest part is hell, and there the soul suffers. In the middle hellish world, it's a mixture of sufferings and pleasures, but there is no sun there, and everything goes on in the darkness. It's very dark, very humid. It's difficult. The atmosphere is tough, is dense. So when there is no suffering, then there is a kind of happiness. In the highest hellish world, it is usually sense gratification, but very low. Sex, drugs, alcohol. Sorry. So all the pleasures that the soul wanted to experience in this world, like killing animals, intoxication, the alcohol, the illusion, madness, all of that. This is all in these hellish planets in very dirty forms. But there is an perception of it as it would be a sense gratification. It's like it's a lower form of sense gratification. And so here on Earth we have the middle planetary systems, and here we also have three levels. We have animal life, which is compared to hellish, because look at how animals live. All the time, all that they care for is how to find food and where to sleep, not to die. So sometimes you look at cats and you think they're enjoying, but take a closer look, and cats are actually suffering. There is nothing nice about it. Also, we have on the Earth world, we have different living entities who are living under Earth, like worms, I don't know, some animals. Everything that lives under Earth, this is lower also level. Then middle one is our level. We are people, we are communicating. associating different living entities, birds. Like we have a subtle world here also. This is the world of ghosts, spirits. They are very intelligent. They don't have gross bodies. They can impact the consciousness of people and then create different events here. And then there is Edenic world. So the third world is paradise world. It's also divided into 3 levels. In the most highest level, there are just angels. No, in the lowest of the paradise system, there are angels. The simple living entities, they're quite, their lifetime is not that long. Then there is the middle paradise world, 10,000 already years of life is duration of life. There you have already like more intelligent entities. Then they already have responsibilities. And then there is upper level of the paradise system. There are demigods already. They are administrators. They already manage the material universe. There are also some ashrams of munis, of the wise men. Also, Lord Brahma is the creator of the universe. He is not subject to a lot of laws of nature, which we are subject to. There are rishis. There are rishis who are situated on the same level of the creator. It's already 100,000 years, the duration of life, and they are continuing their life when the partial destruction of universe takes place. You know, between the different epochs and different demigods and wise men, they're living in the upper level of the paradise system. There is also one spiritual planet in this world, in this material universe. It is called a polar star, and all the other planets are going around it. Okay, further we're going. Tatiana is writing some expectations. Okay, I'm retired. I love very much work on land. I like to grow fruits, vegetables, and flowers. I have a big family, and taking care of my family is a big part of my life. I really expect the deep absorption during this marathon. I hope to manage to put the Lord in the center of my life, and I hope thanks to the marathon I will be able to plan things and will be managed to do a lot of things. I really hope that I expect that my participation in this marathon will also bring virtue to all my family, not only me. Thank you very much. Yes, of course, you are already bringing the goodness to your family. I'm very glad that you want to put the Lord in the center. It should, like, you should keep planting things, flowers, and everything should be done for Him in your thoughts, at least. As for how to participate in the marathon, like, I'm sure everybody has cell phones now, so you can just put on this link and you can listen what we are reading and do your job parallel. So the virtue that you will receive, you will not be able to measure. Your relatives will receive this virtue for sure, but for you it will stop being the important thing. They will receive it automatically in a way because you are their relative, and you will share these virtuous fruits. You will share it with your relatives, with your family. Also, this marathon is a marathon that we created for the whole world. So you are now helping the whole world. We made this, we put this goal, and we all now, those who participate, will impact the whole world. So thank you for your expression, for this expectation that you expressed. I really hope that you will manage. Okay, the question Elena is asking: how to understand absolute truth as a Bhagavan? What one should do for that? How to become real bhakta? How to obtain the real love towards Krishna? Okay, I see that you asked at least 3 questions here. How to understand absolute truth in aspect of Bhagavan? Well, if you read till the end Bhagavad Gita, you will start to feel, perceive Krishna. You will start understanding and feeling that Krishna as Bhagavan is different from Brahman, because in that aspect of Brahman he is the source of everything, and then he is also different from Paramatma. And Krishna, being Bhagavan, he possesses 6 opulences. He is the most beautiful, the most attractive. He is the strongest. He is the richest. He is the most glorious and famous. He is the most intelligent and the most renounced. So once you start to perceive these things around that, for example, you will see some beauty, and you will feel that this is Krishna's reflection, because everything which is gorgeous and beautiful is a little spark, just a tiny little spark of his beauty. When you see manifestation of some force, for example, wind, very strong wind, or very strong heat, or very strong desire, everywhere where you will perceive strength, you will understand that this is Krishna's energy, because Krishna is the strongest. The same fortune, richness, and other opulences like this, you will start to realize that this is his opulences. The 10th chapter, if you absorb yourself really in 10th chapter, Arjuna is saying, Krishna is telling to Arjuna how to perceive him in this world. How to become a real bhakta, the second question of yours. And then how to obtain the real love towards Krishna. In order for you to become real bhakta, you have to find a real bhakta and to become his disciple or her disciple. And you have to find someone also who loves Krishna. Like this you can obtain love towards him. You have to surrender to this personality who loves Krishna. Because Arjuna also begins like that. Arjuna says in the beginning, I do not know what to do, I'm lost. When the person realizes his helplessness, that is already beginning of bhakti, because he understands that he cannot conquer the illusion, cannot conquer the gunas. He is helpless. He cannot do by himself. So then he starts to surrender to the Lord. And like how does he do it? He is searching for the spiritual master. Once you find the spiritual master and become his disciple, you are becoming bhakta. You are already on the path of this developing this love towards Godhead. You just have to chant Krishna's name mm, and to read Chitancharinamrita also. We will read it together, but then you also have to read with the purpose of Srila Prabhupada, and then you will have realization that you are already starting your bhakta. You are asking these questions. You are already bhakta, real bhakta, because the one who is not bhakta cannot ask these questions. But how to develop this love? Then you have to serve a real devotee, a real bhakta, real representative of Krishna, and then you will develop this love because we all have this love, but we need to awaken it. We need to get rid of the material layers of our consciousness, of desires. We will have to get rid of all of that, and then this love will be awakened. Anastasia is writing. Is there any violence on the platform of the spiritual consciousness? Uh, if there is, in material world, violence brings suffering, but on the spiritual platform, everything has absolute nature. It doesn't bring there the suffering. For example, we make certain of efforts. We are making some. We are violating even sometimes ourselves in some comfort, for example, because the mind requests and we say no. Um, but for example, or in other case, your spiritual counselor or teacher can be strict with a disciple, and it could look that it's a violence, but if they have relationship, and if we understand that there is a relationship behind, we can understand that yes, there is maybe partial violence, but in the end of the day, it's for the ultimate goodness, and it doesn't cause suffering. If it is aimed for the good virtue, it's not violence. Once my spiritual counselor said to me something, and I felt violated a little bit. I was living back then in a temple as a brahmachari, and at certain point he came to the temple and told me, "You have to leave the temple now. You have to go and preach to the people." But by then I was already used to live in the temple. It's been a couple of years, and I really liked it there, and I thought to myself, this is against my will. I have already responsibilities here. I have already certain expectation here, and all of a sudden my counsel tells me, leave the temple. So I felt like it was against my will, and I felt violated. But it it was an important decision, and it was important instruction. Why? Because it was coming through the disciplic succession. I had to realize that this is for my goodness, and then I felt I felt happiness because I understood that this instruction comes from the God through the chain of the spiritual masters. Also Arjuna. Krishna is giving him instruction. And Krishna tells Arjuna, you have to kill. You know, people are fallen and they're sinful people, so you have to kill. You have to kill them because they're sinful. But because it is said by God, and the Lord says, do it for me, this action is on spiritual platform, and not material one. So another expectation. the world, I felt like the earth went out of under my feet. The marathon is the last thing that I have, because it's the last straw for which I can hold, because last hours I'm fighting with the fences, with the lamenting inside of me, with desperation. You are like Arjuna. Arjuna is also fighting with this desperation. And right now, she's writing that she needs this spiritual support, otherwise she will fall, because she is holding with her last powers. I need the spiritual victory with all my demons with whom I am surrounded right now, and I do not know how to break through. You have to chant holy name. You have to chant mantra Hare Krishna. I will now pronounce it. You will have to fix it. And you have to write it down after, because there is no better cure from all the demons. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You have to do it with faith, very firm faith that it will help. That this is Krishna, that it's him, it's not just his name, it's him, he will come and he will help you. You can also find in internet Nrasimha Kavacha. In internet you can find. It's like a prayer to the Lord Narasimha that you also can chant, and this will be like an armor for you. And then you have to read Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, because it's also a very powerful weapon which can protect you from all the demons. And no one can aggress you if you are reading it out loud also. Also participate in this marathon, and the main thing is to chant holy name and have faith. It's just a period like that now, right now. You have to be aware. It's not only you who is coming through this now. Everybody is going through this now. All people on earth who have different demoniac tendencies, they will be now activated because of this corridor of eclipses. So a lot of people will have difficulties now, and you have to hold on. You have to understand, according to my fate, it came to me, but I will continue praying, because no one can ever rescue me but you. With such a faith, you have to pray. No one will help but him. Everything else, any other shelter will not work. The only way is this holy name, and Krishna will help you. If the demons already came, then also find the cow's dung. So just really put this cow's dung on your head, on your forehead. Don't worry about the smell, it will not stink as you might be afraid. The cow's dung is just grass and water, there is nothing else, because the cow eats only grass. And all demons are afraid of this cow dung, really. They are not liking it. Of course, if you already have taste to chant holy names, they're also afraid of it. But maybe if not, you can use the cow's dung. Go to, I don't know, sauna, go to bathroom and put 15 minutes, sit in it. You can put the whole body in it. You will feel relieved. When there is already nothing that you can use, you can use these methods, but you don't have to spread these methods around, because people might misunderstand. So you can keep it to yourself, but it's powerful. I'm just opening it to you, because I see you are asking for help, and I'm not doing any advertising. I'm not trying to make a fake thing. Just try to apply this method and you will not regret. You will even be sharing your realizations after. Hold on. We are all together during the marathon. Everybody now listens to your problem and they transfer you the good intentions. So you're not alone. Marina is writing. To to come back to the spiritual world and never to come back to the material world. It's for the classic jivas, but for the associates of the Lord, uh, it's different. They go where the Lord wants, even to hell. Are they obliged to come back to the material world? Well, actually, the one who is in spiritual world will never come back to the material world because he will never be tempted to come here. And even if he comes back here, he he can come, but not really come. The soul is also potent, almost like Krishna. So when Krishna comes here, he stays there. So the time spent here by the associates of the Lord, back in the spiritual world, this is not even noticed. There you just close the eyes, open the eyes, and during that time you went to the material world and fulfilled the whole mission. The whole universe can be already appeared and disappeared during that time. So in that sense, the associates of the Lord never fall, even if they come here. This time, which they spend here, it's not even remarkable there. Yuri is writing. What? Can you elaborate on the concept of protection of society? Well, which society? There is society of demons. There are different societies. There are different societies, like a demoniac one. Demon society doesn't need to be protected. For example, they are very powerful, and they will not even consider out of their pride that they need any protection. So they are not gonna weep if something is hard. They will fight till the end, and they will never admit the failure if it's a real demon. Till he dies, he will not ask for any help. If there are society of virtue people, then they need knowledge. But for such a society, with people who are virtuous, they need still transcendental knowledge because they are still coming through the fourfold miseries, even if they have certain saintliness. You still have to take birth to take education, then certain perturbations, then we do not know what is the next yuga. Imagine if he comes to the yuga when there is no knowledge. Maybe he will be just without this taking birth without this knowledge, be deprived of it. So it's important for the righteousness people to obtain the transcendental knowledge already. And then those who are sinful, they need just mercy. The sinful people, they need just mercy, because by himself he will never be able to go to the spiritual path of self-realization, and he doesn't have any virtue. So that's why the mercy is so needed for these people, and we have those people who are distributing the spiritual literature, spiritual food, because the sinful people are needing that. And transcendentalists, what do they need as society? They just need love and service to the Lord. They need compassion. They need compassion. They're just interested how to save the sinful ones and how to help all other fallen souls. And these fallen souls can need this help. But those fallen people, sinful people, they don't have something to be proud of like the virtuous people. So they will accept more easy the mercy than the virtuous people. Maybe yesterday, um, the I received the book Bhagavad Gita from Omsk. And I needed to get it, and they sent it with a car, with a public transport. And when my friend came to this driver and gave to this driver this book, and he said, "Can you just pass it to another person there on the final destination?" And the moment this friend of mine went a little bit further, he saw that the driver started to open. He opened the book and he started reading it and being absorbed, because the world does need a spiritual knowledge. Because everybody in the end of the day need the spiritual knowledge, because it's the best asset, it's the best virtue, it's the best that we can receive. Also, a society needs a good direction. The leaders of the society, they need to give the direction so that souls will not be more entangled in the darkness, but to go out to the light. This is called kshatri, the one who protects from the sin, the one who gives good direction to shudras. Because shudras, they cannot govern the country, they don't have qualities. Vaishya should not govern the countries. They will sell the country. You will be just exchanging, because it's your nature. It will force you to act like that, whether you want it or not. You do not possess the qualities of administrators. You have to admit that and have to entrust it into the good hands. If you lack the knowledge, if you do not know anything about absolute truth, about God, anything, you should not give any remarks to the governance. And the governing, those who govern, they should not listen to that people. There are parliament, for example. There is a parliament. If you enter the room of parliament and ask who knows the science of God and the science of relationship, if there are no such people, then if there is if not such people, then they should not be in this room. If someone is a business person there, he should do business. If someone is shudra there, then you just work. If you are administrator and you govern good, but if you are a good administrator and you can govern, then you have to do your job. Mm, we should not try to compose the government out of people who are not qualified. It should be just wise men, just brahmanas who are not. You cannot buy them with money, for example. They just bring the knowledge about the Lord, because it's the only purpose. Because then, if it's not the case, there are very sinful, bad reactions coming. So the one who governs should understand that the society should function with the head of it. I'm sure that in parliament there are people who can have ability to understand the relationship with God, um, and we just need to understand that who they are. We just need a good government now. The society needs usually that. Ludmila. By the way, Yuri, thank you for your question. Very clear, very deep question. Thank you, Yuri. Ludmila is writing. Family duties are totally absorbing me. I have 3 daughters, 3 grandchildren. I really would like to develop devotion towards Krishna, but how to combine? Please, can I receive your blessings? Well, you just have to serve your family. You have to execute your duty. You have to take care of your daughters. And if you have grandchildren, that means that your daughters are having families. They're married, right? So also the fathers, the fathers should take care of their children as well. But there is a high chance that it's not a perfect situation, but you have to continue executing your duty in front of your family, and this is also Krishna consciousness. They're also parts and parcels of Krishna, so you have to give your care, you have to feed them, you have to read them something about Krishna, for example. Don't think that spiritual life is only going to the church. No, if you execute your duties, it can bring you to the perfection of life. This will be written. We will read about that. So just continue executing your duties with patience, because all difficulties what we receive. They are by fate. Even if we now try to renounce everything and leave and run away from these difficulties, but they will chase us. The same difficulty will find us, will chase us. It just will take a different maybe form, but essence of it will remain the same. So it's important not to run from our duties, not to quit them, and also of course you have to distinguish and prioritize what are your real duties, to understand better what you really need to do and what maybe not. You're already adult, so because life is very short. You probably already over 45. It means that you have to start being prepared. Don't think that without you, all your children and grandchildren will die. No, you have to organize yourself in a way that you will execute what you can. And then don't be attached to do everything. For example, your daughter is also having responsibilities in front of your grandchildren, right? But of course everything, family situations are different these days, so but you can always dedicate what you are doing now to Krishna, and you will, if you pray also. So all the difficulties that you will go through, all will be for good in the end. Another expectation I'm reading. Irina is writing. I wish everyone good health. I'm 48 years old. I'm a mother of 3 sons, and I'm married. I'm expecting from this marathon to understand better and to apply in practice what is recommended by the scriptures. And that's very good intention and expectation, especially to bring things to practice. The goal of my life is to develop the love towards God and to understand how to accept the will of the Lord, how to become cleaner, more pure, how to understand what God wants from me, and to do that as well. I would like to be open and wise. I want to learn how to listen and to respect parents and those who are teachers and elder ones. I want to become a son for everyone around me. I want to educate my children, my sons, as real men, uh, as a merciful men. Yes, I already feel from you that you're already shining like a sun, and your understanding of God is good. You have to keep reading now, carefully, attentively. You have to sincerely acquire this knowledge, and the fortune will smile to you. Now you just need to transfer it into practice. I'm sure you will become a successful devotee of the Lord, and the love will be awakened in your heart. Thank you very much for such elevated thoughts and expectations. Uh, could you please tell what does it mean to worry for the future? What does it mean that the fear for the future is the same with the fear of death? How can we maintain ourselves in the state of now, present state? You know, future is the manifestation of the energy of time. It's one of the aspects of it. So the time actually carries a fear to everyone, because everybody will lose everything in the end. Everything that is material will be lost because it is temporary. And future means that I can lose what I have now. So it's normal that we experience fear about the future, worrying for the future, that we will lose something, that there are some attachments and we are afraid to lose them. But when now you are afraid for the future, but when you are gonna lose, it will be in the present. But the fear even comes from the idea that I might lose. So how to be present in now? You have to chant holy name, a mantra Hare Krishna, and then you will feel this eternity that the mind will be stopped. It will not happen immediately, because the mind will be constantly rebellious, and he will run here and there, but you have to stop him. And Maha Mantra is the best thing that can stop the mind. And also you have to read Bhagavad Gita. Now we are reading Bhagavad Gita, and it looks like we are reading something about the past, but the knowledge that is that we take from Bhagavad Gita, it is about now. So the soul is eternal, and I am the soul. And so if you understand this, you will stop wanting to think about future. For the soul, there is no such a thing as future or past, because the soul never gets birth or never dies, and it never will die. It is always in present. So thank you for such question. Elena is writing. Could you please explain why the sons of Arjuna had to die? They came to play a role, a small role, because they didn't want to stuck here for a long time. It's all a pastime. They came just to satisfy. Their role was that they satisfy their parents, because to satisfy them, yeah. And it's just such a lila. Sometimes we are born just to live one life without difficulties, like, for example, sometimes devotees can receive children, children that are a little bit sick psychologically, but like that they are protected. If they are a little bit psychologically not well, they are protected in that way. They can just live this life and like maybe without some kind of stupid things. There will be no any sinful reaction, because if the person is a little bit mentally ill, he will not be interested in some things, and it's maybe his last life. Even then he will go to the spiritual world, and the probability of doing bad things are very minimalized, for example, minimized. Sometimes we might even think that they are lucky, these people. So they had a short life, the sons of Arjuna, because this was their role, their fate. The soul is a part and parcel of the Lord, and it belongs just to the Lord. How does Verdi describe the situations when the demons are trying to make a contract to win the soul? Demons are just is just a form of life, and so demons, they are just usually searching for the good environment for their existence. For example, this person has a certain desire, and a demon can see, okay, he has this desire, bad desire, so I will enter him, and then I will do what is needed. Demons can be different, strong or less strong. There are different demons, and depending on the sinful activities of a person, they enter his consciousness. The demon cannot enter the consciousness freely. The doors are open when a person commits a sin, because it's only sin who attracts the demon. Because if the person is pure, if there are no sinful desires, the demon cannot approach such a person. It's actually very quite fortunate that people don't see the subtle vision, because otherwise they would see that demons are everywhere. There is such a story in Vedas when one saint person was condemned to take birth as a Rakshas, Brahma Rakshas. It's a one who actually eats meat of people also. Like Rak is the one who can eat also not only just animals but yes, humans. And so this Rakshas, these Rakshasas, they can even not distinguish whether there is sin or no. So he was flying and he saw how the saintly people were conceiving children. And he came and he wanted to eat the father. And wife said, could you wait till we have conception? At least give me an opportunity to conceive. Don't eat him before. But Rakshas, he had such a strong nature, demoniac nature, he didn't care. There is all of that exists, right? Usually, our senses are just dirty, and the senses are contaminated because they eat meat, for example. Someone cooks meat, right? And he doesn't even understand that in this meat, it's some demoniac creature that lives inside. Even if you cook this meat or fry it, there is a demoniac creature who lives inside. It's because it's a shelter, and when a person eats this meat, this demon enters inside with this meat. Uh, and uh, and so then he orders this person, okay, let's kill horse, pig. He just wants the dead corpse, and all these people are led by these uh, demons. The the only people who are allowed to kill the animals are kshatriyas who are training. They are not killing to enjoy the taste. They are killing in order to practice to be in shape for the fight. Anytime the enemies can enter and attack the women, children, old people, and kshatriyas doesn't have a choice. He has to be in shape to be able to protect. So then kshatriya can go for hunting, and he puts his glance into the forest. He sees, for example, whom he could eat, not eat, but kill. Sorry. So, but he doesn't do it for food. Everybody else is prohibited from doing it. It's not recommended by Vedas. Because the sin will chase the person after. Therefore, devotees don't eat anyone. They don't allow the contamination and dirt to enter. They don't make out of their bodies a graveyard, you know? Uh, the devotee doesn't want to to make a graveyard for the corpse. That is a devotee. I'm speaking about devotee. I'm not speaking which tradition. One woman received Jesus in the dream, and he came and he said, if you want to love God and develop a relationship with him, you have to stop eating meat, because if you eat dead food, you will never be able to understand God. And so she quitted this immediately because Jesus told her directly. As she was sincerely praying to him before. So what you're describing about this contract between devil, and the soul, this is symbolism. This is symbolically. It's very simple actually. The demon from inside can just whisper to us, "Well, is it a good look? Such a nice girl. Let's go and you know have fun." And if he goes and does this flirting and things, this is already a signed contract. It will just carry on. There are all the time these proposals. Let's cheat someone. Let's steal something. So the soul is already not free. It's possessed already by dark forces. Another expectation while reading of Ludmila. I'm going to this marathon, and my goal is that to open the nature of the Lord and my own nature as well. This is very high goal. Also, I all to hope to have enough force to serve Him and not to fall into pride and being offended. I also would like to go to the temple, have opportunity to go to the temple and to associate with devotees. And I am thankful to all participants of this marathon. If you have such a desire, Krishna inevitably will fulfill it, because these desires of yours, they make Krishna satisfied. So everything will be fine. You have a good, a very high level expectation. Aigul is writing. I'm very thankful to this marathon. I have a question about yagyas. Should we take part in Shraddha Yagya? I'm just in the very beginning of spiritual path. If there are qualified priests, then nothing bad. You have to watch carefully. If there is chanting of holy name during the yagya, then it's a perfect yagya. If it is without chanting holy name, then it's useless. It will not bring much. This is a law. Shukracharya says, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 8th canto, second part, Shukracharya is a guru of Bali Maharaj, because Vamanadev will take the kingdom from Bali Maharaj. And after after taking the kingdom, the guru of the demon will approach the Lord to associate, and the Lord will tell him, they will speak about yagya, and guru will tell to the Lord that it doesn't matter how wrongly the yagya is arranged, even if there is not a proper place or not a proper time, and there are some defects. But even if everything is inauspicious, but it will be with the holy name of yours, then this yagya will become perfect. Then you have to watch. It means you have to watch if there is a glorification of the Lord, chanting holy name. It will be good. Why not? You can take part in yagya like that. Marina is right, and thank you very much for reading Bhagavad Gita. I can suppose that Arjuna understands that the material body is not eternal. So maybe he just said to destroy the relationships with his grandfather and the teacher. Yes, Marina, that's what Krishna says to Arjuna. That Krishna says, okay, okay, Arjuna, you are sad because you want to enjoy the relationships that are connected with the body. You know, of course, Arjuna, he is a spiritual person, he is devotee, but Arjuna is acting, representing us, you know. He is asking questions which we would not be able to ask ourselves. And so this is the mercy of the devotee who is asking questions for the future generations to come. And Arjuna, he is like kind of high point in these places, weak points that we are attached to, our relatives, our our bodily conceptions. And so Krishna wants to destroy this concept. And Kshatriya, yes, he has to control the senses because Kshatriya has a huge responsibility. That's why the king is the representative of God, and Krishna is gonna tell that in Bhagavad Gita. Amongst the people, Krishna is the king. Kshatriya, sorry. So if someone has to kill to protect the high religious principles, there should be no sentiments. You have to act. You know, Arjuna is playing a role of a common mortal person, and he has to play it perfectly so people can see that this is a real situation. But of course, otherwise it would not be very practical. Imagine if imagine if Arjuna would say, immediately agreeing with Krishna, yes, Krishna, you are right, these are all souls. Um, and let's kill them. But you know, Arjuna is playing the role, so he has to act uh, like an actor. For example, it said that Draupadi, when she was mm, looking down, you know, her eyes were looking at the feet of Arjuna and Krishna. She didn't understand. She didn't understand who is coming from which side. And when they approached her, she opened the eyes. She looked at the feet, and she was confused. She didn't understand who was Arjuna, who was Krishna, because Krishna has a spiritual body, not material body. So Krishna is having a spiritual dark body color of the dark color, and so Draupadi could not differentiate between these feet of Arjuna and Krishna. She was confused. But then when she started to look up a little bit, okay, so she saw, okay, the clothes of Krishna is like that, and my husband is like that. So Arjuna was not under illusion of Mahamaya. Krishna put him into this state, but with his internal energy, just so Arjuna can play this role perfectly. So Elena is asking the question, why Karna is called why Karna is called the son of Queen Kunti. Uh, um, why it's called that Karna was the brother of others, even though children were born out of mantras. How that it's possible that the children would be born from mantras, not from our uh, uterus? You know, a mantra, it's a sound. It's hard to understand how it's possible that children are born from mantras, but the conception that happened then was different from conception that we understand. The demigods were coming back then. So in our case, for example, also what is mantra? Manos is mind. Okay. Tra. So mantra is meaning that there is mind meditation, mind based. For example, you think I want some piece of clothing, some kind of jacket, and after or blouse, and after some time your blouse will materialize. But when you carry it, you don't think that first you meditated on it, you know. So if someone ever saw you in this blouse, he would, and he sees you for the first time, he would think that it appeared now. I'm just trying to explain you the example that everything that is around us, what is going on, it first appears in our mind. Every desire that we have manifested, it's started with the mind. Some things can come quickly, some maybe take some time, even few lives. But on the standpoint of eternity, this is not even much time. So mantra, um, it's the same thing. Like teleportation. For example, you can travel even between dimensions. For example, we don't see ghosts, but they could be around. But why we don't see? Because they're in different dimension. There is different sound field, because everything is made out of sound. Even the most gross objects, even earth, even table or glass or a river or stone, it's all manifestation of a sound. Just this intensity of the sound makes object visible or invisible. The same thing with children. The mantra is made and is pronounced, and then the child appears. But this is available only to demigods, because Yamaraj was the father of Yudhishthira, Indra was the father of Arjuna, Surya the father of Karna, and Nakula and Sahadev were children of some Kumaras, and all of them are demigods of very top um, levels, because they are operating the like, for example, Agni Dev can take a form of a wise man, and this wise man can see, okay, Arjuna and Krishna coming, and he can approach as a wise man, and Arjuna sees him, and Arjuna says, "Oh, dear wise man, how can we serve you? We are kshatriyas. We should serve wise men. How can we serve you?" And Agni understood that Arjun didn't understand that he was the god of fire. And Krishna understood immediately that it was Agni Dev. And Krishna whispers to Arjuna, "It's Agni Dev." And so Agnidev understood that and so Arjuna would ask, um, what do you want? And Agnidev says, I want to eat, I'm hungry, but I do not know what to eat in your kingdom. What do you want to eat? Maybe a piece of a forest I could eat. And then Arjuna allowed him to eat some piece of forest, and then the lila is going on. But the idea is that the demigods are having really other capacities to change bodies and everything, and us, we are very limited by time. For example, demigods can appear no, demons can appear after conception straight away in a bigger form, like grown-up form. Bhima gave birth uh, to a demon from Hidimba, and Bhima, and because Bhima killed her brother, and Hidimba wanted protection, so she asked him protection. Bhima said no, I don't want, but this demoniac woman said yes, I need protection. But there was Mother Kunti there, and she said, when there is a love question, then it's not a question of who's demon and who's not demon. So she just wants a child, so give her a child, become her husband, give her a child. And Bhima was not a, of course he cannot disobey his mother, and so Bhima fulfilled. He first asked Yudhishthira because Yudhishthira is Dharmaraj. And so he said, he asked Yudhishthira, Yudhishthira thought, and he said, yes, okay, there is no problem with the religion, laws of religion, so we will make marriage. So they married, and the same night they conceived, and next morning it was already a grown-up demon. And then Bhima left. It happened during one night. And the grown-up child remained with the mother, his mother, demoniac mother, to protect her. Елена is writing. Mironova. What if if my mind has doubts that everything is like described in Bhagavad Gita? You know, the mind will be in doubts anyway, because mind has a lot of material experience, material energy. Transcendental things, spiritual things are not available straight away to the mind, because there are no concepts that he can operate with. So the mind is not liking that. And he kind of sometimes rejects or have doubts. Besides, the mind doesn't want to have any change. He prefers stabilities. And if there are some scars, some memories of enjoying this world, and he doesn't want to change that. Why? Because the mind, you know, has in that sense women nature. Women, they don't want to change the comfort that she was creating for a long time. Imagine you come to a family and the house is already arranged, and you tell, okay, let's move to another house. But the first to oppose will be the woman, the wife, because the woman is embodiment of the mind. So the mind will not agree, that's normal. And doubts, it's actually the sign of intelligence, because intelligence also can have doubts. Intelligence has to have a clear understanding. Intelligence has to have arguments. So you have to bring more arguments. And some things you can just accept now from the platform of faith, because not everything can be explained. And it's true that you are saying that to switch from the material perception is difficult, but you have to take the medicine of the scriptures and holy name every day, little by little. If you do it every day and also associate with the saintly people, after some time, the mind will be agreeing. Mm, he will be still maybe also noticing that there is some diversity in the spiritual life, and after some time the mind will be no doubts and he will be agreeing. Because after some time the mind will understand that to go back it's not possible, so the only way is to continue. But you have to be patient and keep going in this direction. The last question by Olga. Olga is writing, what to do if my husband eats meat and I have to cook it? Well, you have to agree. You know, your husband should be not only husband, but also your friend. Because if he is only using the role of husband, then the conflicts are inevitable. But husband and wife, it's a relationship of responsibility. But try to bring some friendship there. Try to associate as friends also, not only as bodies, you know, man and woman. But of course, you don't have to tell him that what I'm saying, because if he eats meat, he might not understand. But try to say friendly things. For example, you could even open your heart. You can say, "Oh, my dear, I think I feel nauseous about meat. I feel heavy. I really feel heavy. It really stings with some corpse. I don't know what to do." He has to experience. He has to understand that you need his help. He has to be protector. He has to feel it. You can say maybe you could think how we can do, and at least you should not kill any. You should not buy cow's meat. Yes, don't cook cows. That's for sure. This is the most horrible karma that you can imagine. It's horrible. So try to begin with eliminating at least cow's meat. But then, of course, if you cook, then you just should really feel that you're doing it just as duty, but don't consume yourself. And try to pray for him. Try to also cook clean food and offer it to God, and then offer it to your husband without saying that you offer it to God. But with time he will accumulate virtue, and this passion towards the lower taste will be gone. With time he will say, "Oh, maybe I'm not interested in meat that much myself." But if you just need to do yourself spiritual practice, and you should not impose things. You should just have to be patient. And in 6th chapter, Krishna tells Arjuna that the bad will never conquer the one who makes good. So if you step by step continue doing good things, the bad things will be squeezed out eventually. So continue doing the spiritual path, pray to Krishna, and to have understanding that Paramatma is situated in the heart of your husband as well. You can pray like this: Lord, you are in the heart of my husband. Please inspire him with time to stop eating meat. Please, Lord. So it will really be important, your prayers. The Lord usually does not intrude with the freedom of choice. Of course, if his desire to eat meat will be stronger than your prayer, your desire, then of course he will, Paramatma will execute his desire, but you can continue praying, and sooner or later everything will be fine. Thank you everyone very much for this interactive session. It was very interesting. Um, Good questions, good expectations. I wish you all the best.